Hi, my loves. Welcome back to another collective energy reading. This week, I was strongly guided by Spirit to use the Obsidian Veil Shadow Oracle, a deeply powerful and intuitive deck that helps us explore what's been hidden beneath the surface. This deck is designed to guide us through the shadows with honesty, clarity, and love. It reveals suppressed emotions, ancestral wounds, buried truths, and forgotten strengths. The Obsidian Veil is not about fear, it's about transformation. It's here to help us acknowledge the parts of ourselves that we've been afraid to face and lovingly bringing them into the light. For this reading, we're looking into the energy surrounding the week of Monday, April 21st to Sunday, April 27th of 2025. Please remember this is a collective reading, so not everything will apply to everyone. Always take what resonates and leave the rest. You were guided here for a reason, so trust what you feel and allow your intuition to lead. The first question that I asked was, what is the collective being asked to look at within themselves this week? The first card we received was Boudica, and the card says, though we may be outnumbered, our spirit shall never be conquered. Boudica rises when the soul is stirring with suppressed rage and deep resistance to oppression. Spirit is asking the collective to examine where they've been silencing themselves to keep the peace. This isn't just external rebellion, it's sacred rage. The collective may be feeling emotionally overwhelmed, but it's because their inner warrior is begging to speak. Spirit is asking, what are you no longer willing to tolerate, within yourself or the world around you? The next card was Hanya, and the card says, beware, for beneath the mask of rage lies a sorrowful tale. Hanya symbolizes jealousy and female rage in Japanese North theater. She comes forward when we've been performing emotions we think are acceptable while hiding what we really feel. The collective is being called to remove the emotional mask. Spirit is whispering, you don't have to hide your anger, grief, or envy. Those emotions are valid and deserve space to breathe. The next card was Nimue, and the card says, from the depths I emerge, bringing gifts of wisdom, guidance, and power. Nimue, sometimes known as the Lady of the Lake, appears when someone is underestimating their influence. The collective has been forgetting their power, especially intuitive and emotional power. Spirit is reminding us, you are not helpless. You're simply remembering how to wield your inner magic without guilt. This week, the collective is being asked to confront emotional suppression, especially around powerlessness, rage, jealousy, and control. Spirit wants us to sit with the discomfort, unmask ourselves, and reclaim the fire we've been taught to dim. The inner rebel is not here to destroy, it's here to liberate. The second question was, what shadow or wound is surfacing that needs acknowledgement or healing? The first card was Elizabeth Bathory, and the card says, bathed in crimson secrets, I am the vessel of power unchecked. This card surfaces when the collective is being haunted by toxic beauty standards, comparison, or shame around aging, flaws, or not being enough. It's the wound of being seen as monstrous for wanting power or autonomy. Spirit is urging us to heal the wound of conditional worthy, where love, visibility, or acceptance has been tied to being perfect, youthful, or desired. The second card was Persephone, and the card says, like the seasons, I too have known darkness, but I rise again, reborn in my own light. Persephone represents the sacred descent into darkness and transformation. This card indicates the collective is mourning something unspoken, a loss, a betrayal, or even an old self. Spirit says, grieve fully. Let the darkness initiate you. This isn't the end, it's your rite of passage. The next card was the Harpies, and the card says, winged emissaries of retribution, we swoop down upon the wicked with talons of justice. This card shows when the collective has internalized judgment for being too much, too loud, or too emotional. Harpies were demonized in myth, but they were also messengers of truth. Spirit says, stop apologizing for your voice. Stop swallowing your warnings. You are not a villain for seeing through the illusion. The next card was Morgana, and it says, in the depths of betrayal, the true cost of trust is unveiled. Morgana reminds us how easily powerful feminine energy is misunderstood. This card points to a collective wound around betrayal, especially by people who feared our strength. Spirit is showing us old betrayals may resurface this week, not to re traumatize, but to finally be seen, processed, and released. This week, the collective is facing deep ancestral and personal wounds around grief, betrayal, body shame, and silenced rage. Spirit is encouraging full emotional release. It's safe to fall apart. This is the week we walk through the underworld, not to stay, but to reclaim our crowns from it. The next question was, what outdated beliefs or emotional pattern is ready to be released? The first card was Amanute, and the card says, true strength lies not in conquest, but in the power to forge unity. This card asks us to release the pattern of people-pleasing, savior roles, and forced forgiveness. Amanute was retold through the lens of colonial fantasy, but her true story is one of survival. Spirit is calling out the belief that you must stay soft and agreeable to be loved. This week, we release the obligation-based identity, especially in roles we didn't consent to carry. The next card was Hildegard von Bingen, and the card says, my words resound like celestial melodies as I embrace the harmony of creation. This card indicates the collective is ready to release the belief that spirituality must look or sound a certain way. Many are afraid of speaking their intuitive truth because it doesn't fit the mold. Spirit says you don't have to make yourself smaller to be divine. Your visions are holy, even if others don't understand them. The next card was Elizabeth I, and the card says, I may have the body of a feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king. This card invites us to release the patterns of over-independence and the belief that vulnerability is weakness. The collective has been armoring themselves with emotional detachment to avoid betrayal, but in doing so, we've also blocked connection. Spirit says, it's time to trust again. True power isn't in isolation, it's in sovereign connection. This week, the collective is being asked to release the need to be nice to feel safe, the belief that your spirituality must be palatable. Spirit is saying, you don't owe anyone your silence, your softness, or your mask. It's time to reclaim your wild truth, our spiritual weirdness, and our sacred vulnerability. My next question was, what truth are we not wanting to see, but must face now? The first card was Kitsune, and the card says, I walk the borderlands of illusions and truth as I reveal the power of duality. Kitsune, the shape-shifting fox spirit from Japanese folklore, appears when illusion, projection, and emotional masks are clouding our vision. Spirit is revealing that we've been lying to ourselves, maybe not maliciously, but to feel safe. The truth we're avoiding might be about a person, a system, or even our own intentions. It's time to remove the rose-colored lenses. Spirit says, trust your instincts. You already know. The next card was Red Riding Hood, and the card says, even the smallest among us possess the strength to defy the lurking shadows. This card flips the fairy tale on its head. Spirit is highlighting how society manipulates and rewards performative innocence and silence, especially in women. The truth we're avoiding is how often we've played small to be safe, or to have been trained to distrust our own power. The big bad wolf isn't always outside us. It can be the voice that says, don't make noise, don't be too much. But Spirit is saying, that voice is not your truth. The next card was Tituba, and the card says, accused and condemned, I carry the weight of injustice upon my shoulders. Tituba, the enslaved woman accused in the Salem witch trials, represents the deep truth of scapegoating, racial trauma, and divine feminine wisdom that's been demonized. Spirit is revealing a hard truth that many collective systems still thrive by demonizing the intuitive, mystical, or different. There's a refusal in the collective to admit how deeply this still shapes our world. Spirit says, you carry the wisdom of your bloodline. Don't let them silence you anymore. Together, the cards are telling us that the truth that we've been avoiding is this. We've become conditioned to fear our own intuition, to mistrust our inner knowing, and to shrink when we should rise. The performance of innocence and playing nice is over. This week, Spirit wants the collective to strip away the illusion and stand in raw truth, even if it makes others uncomfortable. My next question was, what hidden influence or energy is affecting the collective more than we realize? The first card was Joan of Arc, and the card says, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. This card reveals the hidden influence of spiritual martyrdom, the belief that suffering is noble, and that we must be in pain to be worthy. The collective is unconsciously carrying the burden of trying to save others at the expense of self. Spirit says, you are allowed to thrive while walking your divine path. You do not have to bleed for the mission. The next card was the Siren, and the card says, beware our bewitching song, for within it lies the perilous power of empty promises. The Siren represents fear of being seductive, loud, and magnetic. Spirit is revealing that much of the collective still holds shame around being too desirable or too expressive. This energy is suppressing creativity, sexuality, and voice. Hidden influences are self-censorship rooted in fear of judgment, and Spirit is saying, your light doesn't dim others, your voice was made to stir waves. The next card was Cleana, and the card says, I embrace the call of the wild within, and heed the call of my heart. Cleana is a powerful Irish goddess that's associated with the sea and mourning. She reveals buried grief and ancestral sorrow as an undercurrent in our choices. Spirit is saying that a lot of what's driving the collective right now is unprocessed emotional loss, past life, ancestral, or soul level grief. It influences how we trust, love, and act. This energy must be acknowledged to be freed. Spirit wants us to remember you don't have to suffer to be holy, you don't have to shrink to be safe, and your pain doesn't have to remain hidden. The next question was, is there something being revealed to help us break out of an illusion or lie? The first card was Eve, and the card says, by embracing one's curiosity and through one's choices, destiny is shaped. Eve is a powerhouse card of reclamation. Spirit says, the lie is that you were ever wrong for wanting to know more. This card breaks the illusion that curiosity, wisdom, or questioning authority is dangerous. The real truth? It's divine. Eve comes forward to remind the collective to stop feeling guilty for stepping into their knowing. The illusion is obedience equals safety, and Spirit is saying, no, consciousness equals freedom. The next card was a Virgin Mary, and the card says, my divine light shines to guide all towards love, forgiveness, and eternal hope. This card reveals the illusion that divinity must look like purity, sacrifice, or emotional perfection. The collective has been programmed to believe that love must be unquestioning, that to be spiritual means being endlessly forgiving and soft. Spirit is saying, holiness is not about erasing your humanity. This card invites us to release the lie of conditional love and reclaim divine complexity. The next card was Bridget Bishop, and the card says, a flame amidst shadows, I defy convention and dare to be myself. Bridget Bishop was the first woman executed during the Salem witch trials. She represents the lie that being outspoken or magical makes you dangerous. Spirit is revealing how society will demonize independent, intuitive women. This card is your reminder that truth tellers will always be feared by those who worship silence. Spirit says you were never dangerous. You were simply ahead of your time. This week, the illusions that are shattering are that we must obey to be loved, that holiness means being soft and silent, that wisdom is rebellion instead of liberation. Spirit is saying loud and clear, you are not here to be palatable. You're here to be powerful. The chains that once kept you small are rusted. It's time to break out, break free, and break the spell. The next question was, what inner strength or lesson is being activated through this challenge? The first card was Catherine de' Medici, and the card says, power can manifest in unexpected forms, even within delicate vials of deadly secrets. This card speaks to the power of wisdom earned through observation. Catherine was a political mastermind, often villainized for her cunning. Spirit is activating the collective's ability to see patterns, read energy beneath the surface, and move wisely, not reactively. The strength being activated here is strategic discernment. You're being reminded that not every battle deserves your fire. Some require your silence, your knowing, and your timing. The next card was Mary Magdalena, and the card says, the past does not define me. I rise from the depths of societal judgment. Mary appears when the collective is ready to reclaim truth outside of the narrative that's been written for them. She is misunderstood, rebranded, and silenced in religious history, yet she holds one of the purest frequencies of divine wisdom and love. Spirit is activating the inner strength of being unapologetically spiritual, sensual, and sovereign. You no longer have to choose between being respected and being true. You are both. The next card was the Sylphs, and the card says, surrender to the winds of change and embrace the dance of life's ever-shifting currents. Sylphs are elemental air spirits associated with clarity, thought, perspective, and freedom of mind. The card's appearance shows that the collective is receiving a shift in perception, an aha moment that liberates them from old thought prisons. Spirit is helping us move beyond confusion and mental mastery. The inner strength here, liberating your truth from the fog. Your mind is clearing, and what's real will remain. This week is activating the sacred trio of strategic wisdom, divine truth and embodiment, and clear perception and soul vision. Spirit is telling us, you are not only intuitive, you are wise, powerful, and ready. Let your truth be both a sword and a song. My next question was, what is the most empowering way the collective can respond this week? And the only card we were given was Changa. And the card says, in letting go, we can soar among the stars. Changa is the Chinese moon goddess, known for drinking the elixir of immortality and ascending alone to the moon. She represents powerful solitude, grace and detachment, and emotional independence. Spirit is saying, your most empowered response is to stop explaining, stop defending, and let your peace speak for itself. This week, the collective is being called to sit with their intuition in silence, away from the noise, the opinions, the push-pull of collective chaos. You empower yourself not by proving, but by becoming. The most empowering thing we can do this week is retreat inward, not to hide, but to align. Spirit is asking us to stop seeking validation from external sources and to remember that solitude can be sacred, not lonely. Your moonlight is enough. The next question was, what sacred medicine is trying to emerge from this shadow period? The first card was Marie Laveau, and the card says, my spirit dances with the rhythms of healing and pain. This high priestess of New Orleans comes through when your magic is meant to be seen. She was spiritual, political, and revolutionary, and your collective medicine is the reminder that your voice, gifts, and energy are meant to take up space. Spirit is pushing you to stop hiding your rituals, your intuition, your spiritual gifts. This is the return of ancestral visibility, being boldly magical without apology. The next card was Marguerite Porret, and the card says, "In the fires of persecution, I remain steadfast, embodying the strength of my convictions." Marguerite was executed for writing about divine love and unity with the Creator outside of church authority. Her medicine is radical trust in spirit, even when it defies doctrine. This card signals a rebirth of direct connection to Source, bypassing rules, dogma, or fear. Spirit is reminding the collective that your relationship with the divine is sacred and doesn't need to be explained or approved. The sacred medicine emerging this week is the fearless integration of the mystical and the real. We're being asked to own our power publicly and to trust spirit over fear or tradition. This is a return to wild faith, unchained magic, and visible leadership. Spirit is handing you the mic. Will you speak? My next question was, what final message does Spirit want the collective to reflect on as this week unfolds? The first card was the Nymphs, and the card says, "Guardian of the wild, I bathe in the beauty of earth, life, and vitality." The nymphs represent sacred play, sensual embodiment, and the divine feminine expressed without restraint. Spirit is reminding us that healing doesn't have to be all grief and pain. Joy is medicine too. This is a call to reclaim pleasure without shame. The final message is here. Let yourself dance again, create, flirt, move, be in your body. Spirit is not just in the silence, it's also in your joy. The next card was Lilith, and the card says, "Rise, reclaim your sexuality, and let the world witness the strength in your femininity." Lilith, the original rebel, is here to remind the collective that you are not obligated to make yourself digestible for anyone. This is your life, your voice, your body, your truth. Spirit is closing this week with a mic drop message. Stop asking for permission to exist. Lilith doesn't negotiate her value, and neither should you. The next card was She-Wolf, and the card says, "Unleash the beast, for with nurturing ferocity, I protect my kin." This card is pure primal liberation. The she-wolf howls when your wild instincts have been too long ignored. Spirit is saying, you are not here to be tame, you are here to be true. This week ends with a deep growling reminder. Run wild towards your truth, even if you run alone. The final reflection for this week is this. You don't need to fit in to belong. You don't need to be small to be spiritual. Your joy, your rage, your sensuality, your wildness, they're all holy. And Spirit is saying, let the real you out. My next question, what is the hidden gift in this week's experience? The first card is Medusa, and the card says, "Behind the cursed gaze lies a story of strength, for even in stone, I am unbreakable." The hidden gift is sacred anger that becomes your shield. Medusa has been wrongly demonized for centuries, but her power lies in turning violation into sovereignty. Spirit is saying, what has enraged you may have been your greatest teacher, so use it. The gift is emotional alchemy. Your rage is your boundary now. And the next card is My Girl, Santa Muerte. And the card says, "Through my sacred presence, miracles manifest and hope is born anew." She walks with death and rebirth. The gift here is that something is ending because it must. Spirit is saying, the ending is not punishment, it's liberation. Santa Muerte brings fierce, loving protection during transitions. What you let go of this week is making space for a new timeline. Trust the loss. The next card was Santa Lucia, and the card says, "With sight unclouded, I reveal hidden truths and instill clarity within the soul. Santa Lucia represents second sight, divine intuition, and truth beyond the veil. The gift here is clarity. Spirit is opening your inner vision this week, allowing you to see what was once hidden: energy, people's intentions, and your path forward. You are now being shown the truth behind the curtain. You're not imagining it, you're awakening to it. The hidden gift this week is rage transformed into strength, endings as protection and rebirth, and clarity that cannot be unseen. Spirit is whispering, you're not breaking down, you're breaking through. And my last question was, how can we integrate everything revealed this week for the highest good of all? The first card we received was Kali, and the card says, in the dance of destruction, I emerge, fierce and unyielding. Kali is the great destroyer, the remover of illusion, ego, and stagnation. Spirit is saying the only way to integrate this week is to let the tower fall, burn the masks, cut the cords, destroy what's keeping you tame. The highest good is served through radical release. Kali doesn't ask permission, she clears the way. The next card was Ariadne, and the card says, I am a guiding thread through the labyrinth of life, illuminating the path to liberation. Ariadne gave Theseus the thread to escape the labyrinth. She is the symbol of remembrance and return. Spirit says, you're not lost, you're remembering. You integrate this week's revelation by following the thread of your soul, your truth, your rituals, your voice. This is the return to self after a deep descent. Integration this week looks like letting go of what no longer serves you and returning to your sacred center. You're not meant to stay in the shadow. You are meant to carry its wisdom back to the light. This week is a collective initiation, a death of an illusion, a breaking of chains, and a return to your wild, sacred, fully expressed self. We are being asked to unmask ourselves, face our rage, reclaim our voice, let go of performative spirituality, trust our power, mourn what needs to be grieved, celebrate joy as a spiritual act, and walk forward in divine truth. Our shadows are not our enemy, they are our teachers. And now Spirit is handing us the key to the next door, unapologetic embodiment of all that we are. This was a powerful reading, and I know some of what came through may have stirred emotions or brought up things that you weren't expecting, but that's the beauty of shadow work. It meets us where we are, and it shows us who we're becoming. Always remember that you are loved and you are guided. You are never alone in this journey. Every tear, every breakthrough, every whisper of truth that comes to you, you are held through it all. Spirit sees you, your ancestors walk with you, and I appreciate you more than words can say. Thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every one of you so much. As always, only take what resonates and gently release what doesn't. Your path is sacred, your healing is divine, and your voice, your light, your truth, they matter. Until next time, my loves, always remember to protect your energy, honor your truth, and keep walking forward in faith. I love you.